Hello my dears, this is Sarah from SheHoldsDearly.com and I will be sharing my top 10 frugal gardening tips with you today. Okay, for those of you that just blacked out when I said gardening, I want to talk to you about what I believe is considered a green thumb. That people will just normally look at me and go, oh, I don't have a green thumb, I'm terrible at this, I have a black thumb, kind of a thing. After gardening for the last decade, this is what I think a green thumb is. It doesn't mean that you have like magical powers to take care of plants. It simply means that this little seedling is your baby and you check on it every day just to see how it's going. Does it need to be trimmed? Does it need to be watered? Is there a pest issue going on? Does it need more root space? That it would be turning kind of yellowish if it needed more root space. So that's all it is. You check on your items once a day and you meet their needs. Now you have a green thumb. Okay, now back to our regular programming. So I got most of my ideas out of this book. It's an older book, published in 1999, but I still think there's a lot of really applicable things in this book called The Frugal Gardener. Number 1, if you are going to get shrubs or trees, now resist the urge to put down the big bucks because that is where the big bucks go. When you're buying plants, it's trees and shrubs. And you want to fill your space, so a lot of times you are tempted to spend a lot more money than you need to. If you know that you could let it grow in and fill out in the next 2 or 3 years, go ahead and buy the smaller plant. And we like to always check Craigslist. We have 4 acres that's all fenced and we like to grow laurel bushes around the parts that you can kind of see into the property. But we needed to get hundreds of dollars of laurel bushes. So we checked Craigslist a couple years ago and found just a local gardener that they were just for a few dollars a pot. And so we filled our expedition with them and planted them and took good care of them, and they're growing. They're like this tall now. Anyway, if you have the luxury of time with a project, lean on the smaller plant size because it is gonna grow. Number 2, think outside of the box if you need to get starts. So you can always go buy them at the hardware store or the nursery or something, but ask your friends and see what they have. My friend just gave me some tomato starts that she didn't need. She also was weeding out her strawberries, and strawberries are really prolific and spreading, and so she was trying to clear her garden path and had all these extra little strawberry starts and gave them to me for free. Then here's some fun ones. Check the grocery store, okay? So I don't buy onion starts, I just buy a bunch of green onions, and they have the little roots on the end by the bulb, and so I just plant those in my garden and they just keep reproducing, and that's always how I get a bunch of green onions for less than $1. Then for potatoes, if you buy organic red potatoes, they will sprout. I find that that's cheaper than buying true seed potatoes. They are seed potatoes, but so like Trader Joe's is where I usually get organic red potatoes, and then you just leave them out for a while until they start to grow little stems. Those are the eyes. Then cut them in sections and plant all those pieces. The third thing I like to get at the grocery store is my garlic. Costco has California softneck garlic, just a big bag of them, I think like less than $10. I plant a full year's. You break off each little clove and plant that, and then in the fall you harvest it, and I'll get a whole year's worth of garlic easily that way. Number 3, even cheaper than getting little starts, would be to actually just get the seeds. So, and there's a lot of things that you might not think about, like you've never actually grown from seed, but you can grow just about anything from the seeds. So my favorite company is Territorial Seed Company, and you can a lot of times get a coupon code if you go to retailmenot.com. If you don't know where to start, I would get their Victory Garden seed packet. That's a cool one. If you're really frugal, and I am with some of my things, at the end of the season, you collect the seeds and then use those next year. And if you would like me to do a video on that, leave me a comment below and I can pull that together for you in the fall. Okay, moving on from seeds. Now to start your seeds, you can get a seed tray like I have here. And you can use these for a few years. I do have a few of them. But if you wanted to spend nothing on your little seedling pots, you can do a little technique with, I've done it with newspaper. You tear off a strip that is about 4 inches by 12 inches, and then you roll it up, just shape it as you go. You roll it up and then stuff the bottom in on one side and you have a little pot. And then you can compost it or even plant it directly in the ground if you think it'll compost enough in the garden. Okay, number 5. If you don't already compost, I suggest doing this and just planning on it going back into your garden. So we have a little elaborate compost system on our kitchen counter. There's the vegetable waste that goes into the true compost that goes back into the garden. Then I keep eggshells because I let those dry out and then we powder them in the blender. And I put those, when I plant my tomato plants, I put those in the ground and it's calcium for the tomato plants and it makes them super strong. And then we have a third pot that we throw all of our coffee grounds in from the French press. That goes out to the blueberries. And then we have a spot for anything that we could feed our rabbits, a spot for chickens, and a spot for our pony. So it's kind of fun as I'm cooking. We get a little stash going, and then after I'm done with prep work, we go and deliver what we've collected. Okay, number 6. Now you might be tempted to invest in all the kinds of different gardening gadgets and tools, and I really think there's 5 things that you need. So besides a garden hose, you're gonna want a wheelbarrow. You are gonna want a spade shovel and a rake, some pruning shears. Mine are kind of rusty. I need to clean those up. And a good hand trowel. And when you buy your tools, try to get ones that are one piece. You don't want a joint right here. They break off after a couple years. So invest in the good heavy stuff that's all, forged in one piece. For gloves, Costco has them in packs of I think 6, and so it works out to be like $1 a pair, and each pair will last like 3 or 4 years. They're just awesome. I would not mess with something like these. You don't need this. Just trowel, clippers, gloves does most of the work. And then the bigger tools would be your shovel, your rake, and your wheelbarrow. Number 7 would be to see if you can get free wood chips from a tree removal company. So we have a local guy who we also get our firewood from, but they're always trying to offload wood chips. Like they get dump trucks full every day and can't get rid of it fast enough. And you want to get wood chips that have the evergreen needles, the green needles, ground up into the chips. And that's what you use for our mulch. And there's our pile right there. Things are growing, and then you start taking care, you start watching for pests. And one of the things I like to do if we have aphids is I make a natural insecticide soap. So you just crush a clove of garlic into a spray bottle and you put a drop of Dawn dish soap in there, fill it with water, shake it up. And just spray that on the aphids. They're gone. Along those lines, we have a lot of slugs here in Washington State, and that's going to be my first battle here in a couple weeks, are the slugs. So I use a product called Sluggo that works very well, but for the free version, I like to take my chickens out there while I'm working, and they just love it. They just hang out and eat slugs, and ducks are really good too if you have ducks. And number 10, don't just plant once a year. So I try to plant my garden 3 times, called succession planting. So you plant one space, so I'll plant peas, we'll harvest the peas because that's a spring thing. I'll put my green beans in, we'll harvest those, then the squash will come up. So think about using your garden soil several times throughout the year. Okay, that's it for today. Before you go, I have a little present for you. I made you some printable seed packets. So you can click on the link in the description and grab those. And thanks so much for stopping by our farm. If you're new here, please consider hitting that subscribe button. I do post regularly, and I share my DIY design advice and our vintage farm life. All right, take care. I'll talk to you soon.